Hello and welcome to Westlove Startup Week 2021. You are here for a communications track session with Renea, who is going to tell us all about sales funnels. This is going to be amazing. First, I just want to give a quick shout out to our title sponsor, US Bank. They've been our title sponsor 3 years in a row, and it is their generosity that allows this event to stay free for all of you participants. So super grateful for them and what they contribute. Your communications track sponsor is Mountain Dog Media, also 3 years in a row. Yay. Happy to provide all of your content marketing services. So without further ado, because I am personally really excited for this session, I'm obsessed with sales funnels. I don't know about you. And so I'm going to pass it over to Renea to tell us all about funnels.
Right. So I'm going to share my screen. Perfect. So I'm Renea Demarest. I'm with GROWL Agency. I'm the account director here. So I help manage all of our clients, client communication, and really dedicated to their success. So today I'm going to be talking about inbound marketing and how startups can use this methodology to scale and grow. And first off, just a little shout out to HubSpot. They're our inbound partner. We are a certified HubSpot agency, which is an awesome platform for inbound marketing. All right. So to get started, just a couple things that we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about inbound marketing. What is it? How can you use it? Then we're going to talk about one of the most important aspects of inbound marketing, which is turning your sales funnel into a flywheel. So shifting up the game a little bit here. Then we're going to go through some ideas on ways that you can scale, some tips, tricks, and then some bonus trends. And throughout this whole session, feel free to drop comments or questions in the chat, and we'll be answering them throughout. All right. So just to get started, how many people here, and you can answer in the chat, send an emoji, yes, no, whatever works for you. But how many of you are using inbound marketing or know what inbound marketing is? Perfect. I'll keep an eye on the chat while I kind of go through. So inbound marketing is a methodology. It's a business structure and a marketing strategy that really focuses on pull marketing tactics. So that uses a lot of content marketing. So think blogs, social media, those different tips and outlets that provide value to your audience. Inbound marketing also is very organic. So we really focus on all organic attraction, putting out content that resonates with our audience, attracts them, and builds relationships. So that organic attraction is really important because we want to be using as many marketing channels as possible, rather than focusing on biggest spend, biggest marketing budgets. We're focusing on the best strategy and the best content. And that's where that added value comes in. So most importantly, we're looking at how we can engage our customers with value adding content, not just sales, sales, sales. It's about how can you help your customers succeed and how can you help them be better at their job, even if that doesn't necessarily say, hey, buy my product. You're really focusing on the value. And then lastly, all these attributes contribute to relationship building. So in marketing, no matter if you use inbound marketing or not, relationships are so important. So we want to talk about how we can empower our customers, how we can gain their trust, their loyalty, and create really long-term relationships that ultimately delight our customers. Any questions so far about inbound marketing or what it is? No? Okay, awesome. So fun fact, inbound marketing has become so popular and so successful over the past couple of years that it actually has a 14.6% close rate compared to your traditional marketing methods that have a 1.7% close rate. So just considering that immense difference, that's why inbound marketing is so critical and so influential to the new age of marketing. All right. So talking about our traditional marketing methods, which are typically outbound methods, versus inbound, these are just a few key factors. So in inbound marketing, like I mentioned, it's all about relationships. The marketer really educates, provides that value adding content. They're interacting with the audience, creating relationships, giving valuable assets, blogs that are not just about sales or about why you should purchase from their company, but blogs about strategy or blogs about how to blog. And then also that relationship, that interaction, that's where the marketer really gets permission from the customer. So you're not really interrupting, you're not throwing ads and adding to the noise that a customer sees every day. You're really starting those conversations, having those relationships, and building trust and credibility throughout the entire marketing process. Whereas in outbound and your traditional marketing methods, that's where it's all about sales, big budgets, and just pushing that message to get sales and not really look at those long-term relationships and how the customer can contribute to your success in the long term. So now, this is probably the most important factor of inbound marketing, and really where we're going to focus on during this session is talking about how you can turn your funnel into a flywheel. So on the right here, this little circle, that's our flywheel. So compared to your traditional funnel where you have awareness, interest, desire, action, customer, and then you start back up at the top, the flywheel is always spinning. So you're attracting your right prospects, you're engaging with them, creating those relationships, building trust, and then focusing on delight. The key difference here is that the flywheel isn't linear. So when you use the flywheel for your sales methodology, everything that you do to delight your customers, your existing customers, is going to create promoters, people that will promote your business to their friends, to their family, to other businesses. And that's going to help your attract stage grow. So one thing that has proven to be very inefficient with the funnel is that it doesn't consider word of mouth marketing, which is becoming one of the most popular and most critical ways to attract new business. So when we look at the funnel and we look at how it's just stage by stage, linear, really focuses on attracting customers and getting a sale. And then we look at the flywheel that's really about engaging our customers, creating long-term relationships that delight, and then building on those relationships to find new customers. You can see how this grows success. So one thing that we really focus on at GROWL and by using HubSpot is how fast you spin the flywheel is how fast your business can grow. So the more you attract your prospects, the more you attract by putting out blogs that are that kind of like entry level into your industry, into your business. The more that you engage those prospects, you're capturing their email addresses, you're sending toolkits, you're adding resources, everything in between. The faster you do these things and the more efficient you are with those processes, the better that you'll engage, the more relationships you'll have. And in the long term, you'll have better business success. And it can happen a lot faster than if you're just using the traditional funnel. Another thing to really consider is just the statistics. So 57% of B2B business decisions happen before the sales process even starts. So if we are using the funnel, and that's the awareness stage, we're just barely reaching out, we're not going to make those decisions favorable. Whereas if we're using the flywheel and we're putting out really great content that's value adding, encouraging relationships, establishing credibility, and then that's what our decision makers see, they're going to have more trust in our business than if we didn't use inbound marketing. So any questions before we really get into how you can turn your funnel into a flywheel?
Would you just state that statistic again about the decision making? Because I couldn't quite catch it fast enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So 57% of B2B purchases in that purchasing process, the decision is made before the sales process even begins. All right. Any other questions before we go on? All right, cool. So the next couple things that we're going to talk about are really how we're going to turn your funnel into a flywheel. And after the session, I'll send out a link to our website, so GROWL Agency's Startup Hub. And there we have a whole workbook on going through these steps, really. So taking your business, your funnel, and how you can make it a flywheel. So I'll go through those steps, give some examples, and then send out the link so you can download the workbook and really do it yourself. We'll also have a startup guide that goes through how you can really use inbound marketing for your success, because every startup, every business is a little bit different. And just saying, hey, use inbound marketing isn't going to be successful for everybody. So we'll definitely have those resources, and I will send out the link. But before we go through these steps, one thing that I really want everybody to kind of consider is how the flywheel isn't just for sales. It's not just a sales structure. It's really a mental model that you want to use in every area of business. So by bringing it to the forefront of how you think about your business operations, how you think about marketing, is what's going to help bring everything together. You're going to reduce friction between your teams, friction between your team and your customers, and really entice those relationships and have something long-term that's going to drive that success. So rather than thinking about use the flywheel for sales, think about it, use the flywheel for success. All right. So turning your funnel into a flywheel is going to focus on 3 main steps. So the first one is how we're going to use metrics, and data is so important regardless of what kind of marketing methodology you use. Here we like to look at how data drives strategy, and then how strategy drives content, content drives design, and so on. So everything is data driven. So for step 1, we're going to look at our flywheel. We're going to identify core metrics that are going to drive success. And these, again, they should be specific to your business and what success is to you. Then second is where we're going to focus on each stage of the flywheel. So that attract, engage, delight. And then look at our company offerings, what our customers want, what we can give them, and align them with each step. Then number 3 is looking at points of friction. So friction, like I mentioned before, is where, we struggle as with internal communication, or our client-facing teams talking to clients, those actual conversions. So the more we understand where those frictions are happening, the more we can reduce the inefficiencies and improve our customer experience. So through these 3 steps, the main thing that everybody should be considering is where our conversion rates are happening and what our conversion rates are at each stage, because that's what's really going to identify our points of friction. All right. And again, this 3-step process is part of our workbook, which you can download after our session. So part 1, where we're talking about metrics and aligning activities. We like to use this little spreadsheet. So looking at our flywheel phases, we have attract, engage, and delight. So using web visitors as an example, if we're in the attract stage, our methodology is going to be providing value before we extract value. And by that, we mean we give our customers something that they find valuable before we ask for their information in return. So by using this methodology, you're going to build a lot more trust and credibility first. So if you think about it and you go to a website, you're looking for some resources, and you click on a blog that you find on Google, and you're like, hey, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And the first thing that pops up is, give us your email, your name, your phone number, your address, your birthday, all this information, and you've never even heard of this business before. It's a little off-putting. But in inbound marketing, if somebody finds your blog, they go there, they read it, and they're like, wow, this is amazing information. And then maybe at the end of your blog, you have a call to action that says, hey, for more marketing resources, contact the GROWL team, or whatever your business is. You have a little subtle call to action after you've built that trust. So For example, if we offer that free content, like that marketing blog, that's where we attract. Then once we start engaging our customers, this is where we want to make it easy for them to navigate our site, easy to make the next step on their own. So in this example, we want to make it easy for our customers to shop around the site, make a purchase. If we were a tech company, say we offer, our free educational content, that's our blogs. We gain trust and we subtly promote our software. So then to engage, we have a customer that signs up for our free software, whether it's a free trial or it's a base plan that's free. Then as we engage them throughout that entire process, we want to make sure that the customer experience is phenomenal. So sending emails of like, hey, we saw you signed up. How are you doing? Reaching out, just getting those little touch points in that are going to really add on to that relationship. Then that's where we fall into the delight stage. So as you provide information to your customers, you provide that really important customer experience, your customer success is going to be your success. So in this tech example where we have free blogs, freemium software, then we're going to add in ways to delight. So by adding like educational resources, tutorials on how to use the software and little upgrades throughout the process, then we're going to hook on those customers. We're going to have their trust. We're going to have a relationship, and they're going to be way more willing to buy add-ons, upgrade their account, etc., and become a paying long-term customer than if we just started out the gate with a, here's a blog, give us your information, buy our product. All right. Any questions so far? Okay, perfect. So then part two, this is where we're really going to look at those conversion rates. So from our attract to engage, again, engage to delight, and then delight to attract and again. That's where we want to start looking at conversion rates, comparing that data month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year, whatever suits your business. And really, we like to look at data on a monthly basis and help inform our decisions for the next month. So if you are in tech, if you're in sales, you have a B2B, B2C, whatever it is, if you're looking at data ongoing, you're going to be able to make better decisions, more informed decisions at any point of your process, rather than just looking at data once a year. This also helps really align your budget, your strategies, your methods, everything to help improve that customer experience and then help improve your customer success, which remember, customer success is your success. So in this part two, where we're measuring success, the most important things that we want to look at are going to be identifying points of friction. And how we do that is break down each stage and outline what's important to us. So if we're looking at that attract stage, what's mostly important to us? This slide, we're using an example again of web traffic. So attracting people, our key metric here is monthly website visitors. So are we getting a lot of new visitors? Are we getting recurring visitors? Who are these visitors? And then we want to look at the fluctuations over every month. So in January, did we have 100 visitors? And then in February, we had 20. Is that a good month over month statistic? Or did we have, 100, 300, and we're going up? So attract is where we look at our total visitors. Then engage is where we take those visitors and then we start distilling down the data. So using different platforms, use Google Analytics, use any of your like CRM tools, whatever website you have is going to have some data for you. So if you look at your monthly visitors and break it down based off of what their customer journey is, what pages are they looking at, what's the bounce rate, how long are they spending on each page, where are they falling off, where are they investing more time, all of those statistics are going to help you identify churn. So by churn, we mean when are customers coming, when are they going, and where are you seeing success? So in this engage stage, I like to look at, again, how many visitors we're getting, and then what are our success rates. So we look at bounce rates, we look at time spent on pages, how many pages were visited in one session, and then take that data and kind of modify our strategy. So throughout any stage, throughout any part of your inbound process, always use data to adapt. So then in the last stage, so back to our delight stage, we want to look at how customers are engaging and really measure that customer experience. So this can easily be done by sending customer surveys. So whether that's monthly, quarterly, or 2 weeks after they purchase your software, finding those touch points to ask your customers how they're feeling. It's going to make them feel a lot more important, a lot more valued, and they'll be a lot more open to telling you like, yeah, this is great, or giving you feedback on what needs to be improved. And the more customer surveys that you do, you're going to be able to identify customers who are going to be your promoters. So these are really your brand champions, the customers that are going to talk about your business, tell other business owners about it, share with their friends, and really help you grow because they value that relationship. So in part 2, just key takeaway is looking at those conversions, data, and how it influences your whole marketing plan. All right. And then our last step here is reducing friction. So as I mentioned before, the more that you look at those conversions at each stage, how people are interacting, are your customers happy? This is where you're going to identify points of friction. So by friction, we mean, are your internal teams not communicating? Do you have silos between departments? Is that negatively impacting your customer experience? And then even your client-facing teams, do you have your customer service team isn't responding to the right chats, or are they not responding to your clients and giving them updates on timelines or project statuses? So whatever is important to your business, reducing friction is going to help improve your customer experience. So a couple examples here follow this whole chart. So if you think of all your sources of friction, and you write them all down. They can be anything from, prospects calling for support instead of sending a chat, or they could be things like the support chat team gets sales questions and our sales team is getting support questions. So that's an alignment issue. So think of all those sources of friction, things you identified from data, conversions, and things that you just notice as a business owner. And then from there, we want to go through kind of like a tree process. So we ask ourselves, okay, this source of friction, how can we fix it? Can we fix it with automation? If the answer is yes, how? So automation is huge, and I'll talk a little bit about it later. But can you invest in chatbots? Can you automate your emails? Can you create a nurture campaign that answers questions, provides more resources? Is automation going to solve that issue? If the answer is no, then you're going to move on to realigning your goals. So in the second example, where we have increase in lead quality doesn't always lead to increase in, or lead quantity, doesn't increase quality. So automation can't solve that issue, but perhaps a new goal can. So if we are looking at this data month over month, more frequently than yearly, we can see like, hey, this is a source of friction, and it's going to negatively impact our overall marketing goals and our customer experience. So by setting a new goal, service level agreement between marketing and sales that commits marketing team to generate a certain amount of revenue, that new goal, that new construct is going to help reduce friction, and it's going to help us in the long term. So ultimately, better to identify that now rather than 6 months from now. Then lastly, if your source of friction can't be solved by automation, it can't be solved by a new goal, we want to look at reorganization. So a lot of times in businesses, we have silos, we have issues internally that either we don't see because we're just so busy with everything we're doing on a day-to-day basis, or we don't want to see them because we don't want to have to restructure teams. We don't want to realign things, and we don't want to have those hard conversations. So thinking of reorganization from a different perspective is going to be really critical for inbound marketing. So rather than thinking about reorganization, realignment as a negative, think about it as a positive. You've identified this area that needs improvement, and you're taking your team, working together, and improving it. So in this last example where we're talking about the support teams getting sales questions and the sales teams getting support questions, and we can't fix it with automation, we can't give them a new goal, what can we do? We can reorganize our department structure. We can consolidate those teams so we can give our customers a better experience. So every time you find a point of friction or you find something that we need to reorganize as a company, that's where you want to really focus on improving your customer experience, because you could be really happy as a team and say like, hey, we're happy in our silos. We don't want to break down those walls, but that's not going to help your customers. And that's for sure not going to help your business success. All right. So any questions on those 3 phases before we talk about some ways to scale? Okay, cool. And just a quick reminder, again, we'll have a whole workbook so you can go through those 3 steps, question by question, go through some spreadsheets, and then really identify how you can turn your company's funnel into a flywheel, make it really personalized. All right. So now when we talk about scaling, I mentioned it a little earlier, but every startup is different. Your startup is unique. You hustle, you work really hard to make things happen. We as GROWL, we work with a lot of startups, some that are really well funded and things change overnight, and some that, they're a small business and they're just trying to figure it out. So every organization needs to understand scaling on a personal level. So there isn't a magical equation of do this, this, and this, and you're going to scale this quickly, or change these processes, post a couple things on Instagram that are really aesthetic, and then all of a sudden you're going to have 20,000 followers. So looking at scaling and your business side by side, looking at what's realistic for your team and what's realistic for your industry is what's really going to help you grow. So our top 4 tips on scaling are going to be automation, integrated reporting, planning ahead, and always optimizing. So a lot of times in business, you don't automate. You go through processes, you go through your day by day, and you just kind of do everything because that's what you know. But automation is really going to help your business scale, especially as like a well-funded startup. And automation doesn't just include, posting social posts automatically from a scheduler. It also includes email marketing, keeping a personal touch. So we like to look at automation as using a CRM system. So a customer relationship management platform software like HubSpot is going to help you really centralize your communication. So we're going to pull in landing pages, forms, and really track all of our customers, create customer profiles, personas, all of that information in one place. Then to automate it, this is where we want to bring in things like personalized email nurture flows. So say you offer a free downloadable, somebody downloads it, and instead of not sending any type of communication or sending a really generic email, using automation helps you keep that personal touch and send something in a timely manner. So in this example where a customer downloads something from your website, say they download it and then within 30 seconds, you can automate an email that says, hey, has their first name. Thanks for downloading this. We hope you really enjoy it. If you have any questions, reach out to, and you can provide somebody's real name, email, and then start those conversations really early on. But if you think about that entire process without automation, just imagine the work that it's going to add to your day-to-day. You'd have to be monitoring when somebody submits a form, create your whole email, and hit send. It's not going to happen within 30 seconds. So automation can be really targeted, personalized, and still maintain that human touch that you want, especially for inbound marketing. Then integrated reporting is probably my favorite aspect of marketing, inbound marketing in general. So a lot of times you, as a company, will look at reports in silos. So we don't just have teams that are siloed, we have reporting that's siloed. But in reality, when it comes to your business, all of your data is intertwined. And if you don't look at it that way, you're not going to find those areas of improvement. You're not going to find those areas of friction, and you're really not going to find those areas of success. So for integrated reporting, we like to use a lot of dashboards. So this is where you're going to bring in all your data from social media, all your email data, web data. If you have anything that's physical in person, a newspaper ad, a billboard, whatever the case may be, and consolidate all of that reporting into one location. So this is where you can really coordinate. If you're pulling reports monthly, you can look at things every quarter, year over year, and then identify those gaps, and then you can really see success. So for example, a lot of companies, will pull their social reports. We'll say, okay, last month we were here for followers. This month we gained 100. But that's not really going to help you as a business. You're going to say, okay, great. We gained 100 followers. What does that mean? Did we gain sales? Did we get more web visitors or new email subscribers? As a business, all of your goals are intertwined. So why isn't your data? So by using integrated reports, dashboards, and bringing it all together, especially using automated software, is really going to help you save time and have more informed reports, more informed decisions. So one thing also to consider with your integrated reporting is setting those KPIs. So rather than just looking at data independently and setting goals for social or goals for email that don't regard the other, you want to look at everything together and then set cohesive KPIs, set those goals that are going to be integrated. So we want to have 20 new Instagram followers, but we also want those followers to engage, or we want to get X number of engagements on a post about our email list. Whatever the case may be, we want to integrate it, because if you think about how your customers interact and how your business succeeds, it's not siloed. Then the third tip I have for you is planning ahead. So as a startup, you can never just predict the future. As any business, you can't, but you can plan ahead. You can plan for change, you can plan for growth. So by using SMART goals, smart marketing tactics, and by smart, I don't just mean educated or intelligent, I mean specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So if you aren't familiar with setting SMART goals or setting smart marketing tactics, this is a really robust strategy. So rather than creating a goal that's, we want 10 new followers, you're going to break it down. You're going to get very specific. Where do you want those followers? Why do you want them? How are you going to measure success? How is it relevant to your business? And you're going to set some timelines. So every goal shouldn't just be vague. It shouldn't just be thrown around. And it definitely shouldn't just be loose in time. If you set a goal of, we want 100 new email subscribers, do you want 100 in a month? Do you want 100 in a year? What is that timeline? So by being smart about your marketing tactics and your marketing goals is going to help you really plan for success and plan ahead. So even as you scale, you can look back at these goals, these plans that are really built out and say, hey, we're scaling a lot faster than our benchmarks for our goals that we set, 6 months ago. So then you as an organization, you can pull your team together and say, like, hey, we are exceeding our expectations. Let's realign these goals. Let's reevaluate our success plan and then start pushing each other to grow better together. Then I like to say evolve or die, because you hear a lot of times it's adapt or die as a business, But realistically, you need to evolve. You can adapt to changes in technology. You can adapt to new marketing strategies. But if you're not evolving as a team, you're not evolving as a brand, as an organization, you're still not going to succeed. You can adapt all you want, but you also need to evolve. So last couple things for planning ahead, really involve your internal team and your team structure. So rather than just saying like, here's where we want to be in 6 months, work with your team on how you want to get there. Think about what are those professional development tools that your team should be using? Should they be spending 30 minutes a day reading newsletters or articles on your industry? How can they stay informed about trends, changes, etc.? Because the last thing that you want is, as a business leader, to see something that's drastically changing and then come to your team and be like, hey, how are we going to adapt to this? How are we going to evolve? And they have no idea that it's even happening. So for example, I'm going to use social media because that is an easy example and it changes frequently. If you, as an organization, you really promote everything on social media, you've built your business on Instagram, which a lot of businesses these days have, and you're not staying up to date with how the algorithm is changing or what are the actual rules on character counts, text, not text on images, but links in your caption, links in your bio. How is all this, everything that you put into a post, impacting your data, impacting the experience, and impacting the algorithm? If you don't understand all of those elements and you're just posting to post, in the long term, your team isn't going to be successful. But if you have somebody on your team that is, they're your social media manager, maybe they're a marketing specialist that is also running your Instagram, they're posting about the team, all those elements, if you give them the accountability and the responsibility to be your Instagram expert, they're going to take that. They're going to take it on and they're going to find their passion and they're going to say, hey, this is my job to know what we should be doing and where we can go from here. So giving them that leeway to spend 30 minutes, an hour a day researching, learning, watching videos is going to really help you in the long term, because as a business owner, as a team leader, you don't always have the time to just sit there and read 30 articles on what's happening in the world of social media. But if you have somebody on your team that takes that on as their job, then they can always come back to you and say, hey, we've been doing XYZ, but the algorithm changed and we need to adapt. We need to evolve. Then you have everybody on your team working to evolve rather than just you as the leader. Then lastly, when it comes to always optimizing your business, this goes for everything you do. In inbound marketing, you're going to be making a lot of content, a lot of blogs, videos, social posts, everything in between. And rather than just creating these and having a one-time use, focus on optimization, because that's going to streamline your automation, streamline processes. So this can include repurposing content. Say you write a blog in 2019, it's still valid in 2021, but you want to change up some keywords, repurpose it. And the more you do that, the more you create evergreen content that's going to have a longer life. It's going to resonate with your audience long term, and your team isn't going to be spending hours and hours creating something new every single day or every single touch point. And with that, when it comes to repurposing content and optimizing it, we really want to look at your target audience, your competitors, and SEO. So these three key factors are really going to help you fuel growth. So if you're just repurposing a blog because you want to post it again, but you need to change a couple statistics, you should also go the extra mile to see, what are our competitors doing? What does our audience really want? Because if you're just tunnel vision of hey, let's reuse this blog, it was great back in 2019, it's going to be great now, but your audience has moved on and you don't do that additional research, your blog's not going to be successful. And then you're going to go back to the drawing board and wonder why, and then have to create something new. So I always recommend, if you're going to repurpose, revamp content, do a little keyword research, use Google Trends, see what's trending, look at your target market. What are they engaging with? What are their core values, their motivations? What has changed in your environment Has COVID really changed how your audience is interacting? Or is there a new competitor? All of those factors are going to help you revamp your content to be a lot more successful. All right. Any questions so far? Okay, awesome. So the next thing I want to kind of go through is just some inbound trends. These 5 trends have been really popular over the past year after the pandemic and are growing a lot more in popularity in 2021. So as you transition your funnel to a flywheel, as you embrace inbound marketing, also embrace these trends. So the first one is voice search. So voice has become a lot more popular probably over the past 3 years, and it's kind of gone under the radar. A lot of companies aren't using voice search, they aren't optimizing for it, but consumers are using it more and more regularly. If you think of yourself in your daily life, are you using voice search? Do you have Siri or Alexa and you're like, hey, Alexa, what's the weather? I know I do that every single morning. I definitely don't search it on Google though. So optimizing everything you do as a business for voice search. It's very similar to when you optimize for Google searches and a question format, like what people are asking. It's the same thing, but more conversational. And the data shows that over 27% of our online users are using voice search every single day. And by 2023, which isn't that far away, there'll be over 8 billion voice devices being used by customers on a daily basis. So that's going into searching for, hey, Google, what's nearby? What restaurants are open? Any of those details, anything from local search to big industry questions need to be optimized for voice. And when you think of optimizing for voice, think about optimizing for conversations. This also helps create a more enjoyable customer experience because you're thinking about how your customers are just interacting instinctively rather than forcing them to interact in a marketing way. Next is Google My Business. So if you have a local business and you don't have a Google My Business, after this session, my number 1 recommendation is to make a Google My Business. So your Google My Business account is going to be vital for any local SEO, any local search. In the Google algorithm, they really prioritize your local listing. So your Google My Business listing can feature your website, call now, hours, if you're a restaurant, your menu, any of those details. You can add photos. You can even post to your Google My Business, just like any other social media account. And then it also syncs with Google Maps. And then most importantly, it really ups your ranking in search because Google has changed how they operate to prioritize local listings first. So if you think about when you type in like a restaurant or tacos near me, a lot of users aren't adding near me anymore. They'll just search Mexican restaurant because Google has changed their ways to improve a customer experience. And now they'll just automatically use your location and give you local listings. And if your company has a Google My Business, you're going to be one of the first to show up. Other things with Google My Business are just helping impact your SEO in general. So not just local search, but search nationwide. Even if you are a service company like GROWL, we have a Google My Business. We post to it, we update it with team photos to really help anybody, even if it's somebody that just wants to know more about GROWL or somebody that's looking for an inbound marketing agency, they can get to know our company a little bit better. Next is interactivity. So interactivity is huge. If you think of how you as a customer engage, how you're on social media, how you are scrolling through feeds, looking at articles, you want to be part of the process. You want to interact. You want to have that participation. So this is where we bring in interaction. So if you're thinking of social media posts and you're posting to your Facebook or Instagram story, use interaction, use polls, ask questions, and really engage your users, make them part of the decision-making process. And fun fact, the more interactive your content is, the more shareable it is. And that is going to spark a lot more word of mouth marketing. So the last couple trends I have are think mobile first, which is really important and has been very important for any industry, regardless of your business, regardless of how you market, think mobile first. Over 57% of online purchases happen on mobile. So really making sure that your website looks great on mobile, it's user-friendly. Those are all elements that are going to help scale your business. They're going to help you grow, have more sales, build better relationships. Another fact is that that same percentage, 57% of customers won't recommend your business to a friend if they don't think that your mobile experience is valuable. If they have a horrible mobile experience, they can't navigate your site, they're not going to recommend you and they're definitely not going to purchase from you. Then the last trend is AI. So AI has become really a buzzword recently, but using AI to automate your processes is going to help you gain a better understanding of your customers. So you can use AI and machine learning in a lot of different ways. You can use it for chatbots. You can use it for just pulling data and have a program like a HubSpot dashboard that pulls the top data points. So really using those features, especially chatbots, are what's going to help improve your customer experience. And in the past year, over 50% of online shoppers made a purchase with AI assistant. So that means that they chatted the live chat or the chat bot about, hey, I have a question. They got their question answered and they made a purchase. And it didn't require a human to answer. So those are the top trends of 2021 for inbound marketing. We also covered everything from how to turn your funnel to a flywheel, what inbound marketing is, and a little in between. And just a reminder, I'm going to send out this link at the end of our session, but at growlstartup.com, you can find all of our GROWL sessions from West Slope Startup Week. And if you click on mine, you can download some awesome resources. That's going to include a startup guide to using inbound marketing to scale, a marketing template, and our workbook on how to turn your funnel into a flywheel. All right. So if anybody has any questions on how your business can use inbound marketing or questions about your strategy, totally open for any questions now for our last 10 minutes or so. Then
I'll just ask you a quick question. If someone's interested in hiring GROWL, how do you get started as far as just investigating if that's going to be something that's going to work, if we're a good match?
If you want to just send me an email, we can definitely have that conversation of your business, your goals, and then how we can help.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at some of the questions in the chat. So let me bring this down. Some resources that I would recommend to stay up to date on social media trends. We, as GROWL, shameless plug, we post a lot on our social, a lot of blogs too about staying up to date. But one of my favorite resources is Later Media. And they are actually one of the only certified Instagram partners for like auto posting. They have their own platform, but they produce a lot of social resources and are always up to date, everything from LinkedIn to TikTok. So Lindsay, that would be my number one recommendation, and that's Later Media. Any other ones? Awesome. Well, thank you guys all for the feedback. The last couple things I want to leave you guys with are just, if you have any questions, feel free to email me, or you can always message us on Instagram. You'll get a response from yours truly. Also, again, that growlstartup.com will have a lot of resources. And if you have any feedback or feedback for my session, any other sessions, feedback is going to be open on Sketch.
Renee, I've got a question for
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Any favorite business books?
I really like some of the Seth Godin's. And a couple, I can put these in the chat too, but there's, what is it called? The brand flip is probably my all-time favorite. It's more of a branding book. They go through a lot of steps. I had it in one of my marketing classes for my master's degree, and it was incredible. And then there's also the brand gap. I think it's called the brand gap. And they really just talk about branding, how to align your brand with your business goals, and really that overall alignment, finding your onlyness, what makes your brand stand out, and how you can use that to maximize growth and maximize sales.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Last shameless plug for me is if anybody is here in Grand Junction, be sure to sign up for the West Slope Startup Week after party on Friday. GROWL Agency will actually be hosting it in the parking lot by 750 Main. And one of our team members, Morgan Krause, will be playing there. She's an amazing musician. So there'll be music, drinks, food, and pretty much the whole GROWL team will be there. So if you're going to be there, be sure to say hello. We'll give you a tour, whatever you want. And it'll just be great to see everybody in person. So thank you all for coming to my session, and I hope everybody enjoys West Slope Startup Week. Such a great time, so much to learn, and have such a wonderful day.